All right, Lisa Ballard in the house with us right off the bat. So good that you're here tonight. Scott Stefano, hey now. Bubba Booey. Bruno Coppola, good evening from Laconia, New Hampshire. Nick Hildebrittle for another 3 hours. Chris 2024, I couldn't disagree with you more. Hey man, this is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine, and I am going to be your host this evening for the next 90 to 120 minutes of all the bullshit we can fit. Little program we call Shop Talk. Every Sunday 9 p.m. we go live with this thing, some news, some entertainment, do our best to keep the two-wheeled world informed on what's going on. Just back from the TMMR event, and oh my god, that thing was off the hook. Got a lot of stuff going on the show tonight. Fantastic guests. We have Edge from the SmokeOut here. We have some killer tech, some new product. It's going to be great, but listen, we're 3.5 minutes out. That gives you enough time to hit the like and share button. Let your friends and neighbors know that we're going live with Shop Talk in just 3 minutes. Grab a cold one, kick back and relax. Wait for us to go live. Don't go anywhere. Shop Talk coming up. All right, Alan Gaston. Hey guys, love my Sunday night after a good day of riding. Listen to Shop Talk. So glad you're here, man. Lance Baxter, Leesburg, Florida. Lindsay Haletta in with us. Jeremy Valentine. Just hung out with Jeremy this weekend too. Fantastic. Chop Cult in the house. Hey, I want to give a big shout out to one of our fantastic sponsors here at Shop Talk, and that is the people over at Choppertown. If you're not hip to what's going on over at Choppertown, man, you want to go check them out, because in addition to shows like this, they have the Pirowitz Chopper History, they have Coast to Coast, the Cannonball Chronicles, Torque TV every Thursday night, but they also have full-length entertainment, documentaries, and full-length programs on motorcycles. You want to check them out. Cam Edwards, Cam for president, that's what's up. Right on, man. All right, Cam, you did miss tacos, damn it. 2 minutes and we're going live. Hey, Walt Lumpkin, we know you're always there in spirit, man. Thanks for checking in with us. Come back and check it out, though, because there's big news tonight. John Widener, watching from the road on the way home. Was great seeing you guys. What a great weekend, man. It really was. Greg White in the house. Gus. Good to see all you guys. This is so great. Like, it's filling up like crazy. You wonder if, you know, when COVID starts to subside, if this stuff is going to keep going like it is. And boy, I'll tell you, you guys are giving us a great sign for that. We got 1 minute. 1 minute and we're going live with this one. Get ready. Okay, as we quickly approach the 30-second mark, I can tell you that it was incredible that we got back here in time and got the show set up. The only thing we forgot were my sound effects, so with that, we're going straight to showtime. It's time for Shop Talk. Here we go. Okay, scooter tramps and chopper jockeys all across the land. It is just after 9 p.m., 1 minute after. It's so awesome when we're on time because I don't get screamed at. I'm Chris with Cycle Source Magazine. I'm going to be your host here tonight for Shop Talk. We go live with this program every Sunday, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. We're glad to have you guys here with us. Killer night lined up. fresh back from TMMR. My butt's still numb from the seat of the van, but man, it was worth every minute that we spent down there. We're going to get through a whole bunch of this stuff tonight, but I want to bring the crew in and see what everybody else is up to. Heather,
howdy.
Can't believe that you got put back together because, boy, I'm hard on Heather and road trips, Mark.
No.
I am.
Stop already.
Thank God for braids. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh. So, yeah, it was a quick down and back. And, boy, I forget because it was since I was a kid, for Loretta Lynn's Amateur Nationals that we were down at that property. And, what a fantastic property. Really, really beautiful place. You got to go last time though, right?
Yeah, it was.
I want to go back down just to hang out there.
Yeah,
it's a great area. That's for sure. Beautiful venue. Everything's set up so nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I want to sit in the creek a little bit though.
So while we're all out on the road doing motorcycle stuff, Mark is at home with a what year is your Impala?
62.
62 no pillar Impala.
Yes, sir. Got to play with that a good bit this weekend.
I can't wait to get back over and check out what you're doing because he had the roof just about done.
I'm getting there. It got moved. It's moved.
It moved, Jerry. It moved. Right on, man. Well, listen, I want to welcome you guys again. Like I said, we go live with this program every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern, through the courtesy of the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. We are 50 floors below the street level tonight, and if you're wondering what Shop Talk is, if it's your first time watching, we do 90 to 120 minutes, all the bullshit we can fit, a little bit of entertainment, some tech, some product.
Whatever we see fit for the moment,
the whole thing off
a lot
with,
of BS, some memories.
Start the whole thing off with what, Mark? What do we start off with?
Can we yell at someone?
No, the news,
lunch?
Man, the news.
I was looking for lunch. Why do you got to put me on the spot like that all the time?
First up in the news tonight, Good Time Charlie Brechtel's Golden Pan being raffled off to benefit the Sturgis Museum. If you guys aren't hip to this, man, look all over social media, search for it through rafflecreator.com. The bike that was built as part of the second movie that Charlie and his crew were putting together was originally supposed to be given away through the movie. They're moving this on to raffle, and all of the proceeds are going to benefit the Sturgis Museum in Charlie's honor. You can get a ticket for $20, or I believe six goes for $100. And it's a really, really good cause. I can't think of a better way to honor Charlie's memory through all of that.
And there's no catch. It's literally a straight up raffle. It's totally legit. All of the monies as tickets are purchased are being directly deposited to the Sturgis Museum and Hall of Fame. So you don't have to worry about, where's my money going? It is going immediately straight to them. So let's help honor Charlie in that great way.
And you win a really cool panhead.
Yeah, right.
I mean, where can you lose there?
You can't.
No,
right.
And some cool people had their hands on it, like Mondo and SNS were part of it. And if you go to the raffle page, which I did just throw a link in the comments, the story is there and it lists some of the people that were involved with the project. So go check it out. It's $20. Skip a few coffees for a week or two.
And mad props to Dennis Sanfilippo for putting it all out there like that and letting this thing go and for the memory of Charlie. So good for him. Next up in the news, we're going to South Dakota. Here we go. Sturgis Motorcycle Rally allowed to have open containers this year. Oh my God.
That was always kind of happened, but it was not necessarily supposed to happen.
Well, kind of the thing that I want to go to is allowed to have open containers. So we've gone from burning down shit houses to ignoring shelter in place to we're allowed to have open containers. When are they going to understand that?
We don't care.
Yeah, okay. So great. You're allowed to have open containers now. Congratulations. Everybody going to South Dakota. Party on. Carry on.
Party on, Wayne.
Oh, my goodness. So the Laconia Daily Sun Times brings us this story. Please come to Laconia. That's not really what it
That's
says.
not the title.
Gunstock Hill Climb returns for Bike Week, which is bitchin', because for years and years, anyone that loved this event and loved Gunstock and the hill climbs there, they took them away from Gunstock for a number of years. They're back at Gunstock. The Gunstock Hill Climb is returning to Gunstock Mountain Resort on Wednesday, June 16th, staged by Ridge Runner Promotions and featuring East Coast and Enterprises. This adrenaline-packed day of action will consist of strictly amateur-level competition for this year. That's new.
Oh.
For the thousands of motorcycle enthusiasts who visit the Lake region of New Hampshire for Laconia Motorcycle Week, this supercharged event is certain to be the focal point. We couldn't
It
agree
is a
more.
ton of fun. That's one of my favorite days of the week.
Yeah, those
In
guys.
Laconia, actually, that's one of my only things I like about Laconia.
Well, and you're from there, dude. Like, what are you doing? You're throwing your own hometown under the bus.
Let me rephrase it.
You can't do that because I have like 100 one-liners I can spell right now, and I'm being really nice.
I like
love
rain
Laconia.
a lot.
The Lake region is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, it is.
And the mountains are beautiful. I love everything about Laconia.
Yep.
It is the country's oldest rally. I'm just sad to see the direction that it has taken. I will be thrilled when it hits 100.
Yeah.
I just would love to see them bring motorcycling back to Motorcycle Week.
So this also in from the
Sorry.
Laconia Daily Sun. No, really, please come to Laconia.
No, seriously. Come on.
No, motorcycle week rally to have vendors, beer tents, and vendor spaces. Now, why? You might be wondering, why is this a big
Good
deal?
for your
Why is
dad.
it in the newspaper, right? But last year's rally, for anybody that attended, that was one of the big sticking points with everything that was going on with COVID. They cut way back on the freedoms that were there, and beer tents and outdoor vendor spaces were cut off the list. So
Yep. So it sounds like it's going to be business as usual this year, which is great because I think that means they can have outdoor entertainment. I believe I didn't necessarily see that, but I'm pretty sure that's what that means. So the venues that are there will be able to operate as SOP.
there you go, SOP. I don't even know what's going on.
LOL, FML. There's a lot of letters on this show.
I have
Is that
HDRA.
because we've gotten lazy?
Wait till this one comes up.
What?
The next, we're talking about letters. Lots of
Oh,
letters.
yeah.
This one,
Next up in the
everybody
news,
sit down, please.
From the Motorcycle and Power Sports News, MSF AMA team up to promote RE. May is Motorcycle Awareness Month, and the Motorcycle Safety Foundation and the American Motorcyclists Association are teaming up to promote rider education. The MSF offers a full suite of rider education programs consisting of hands-on, classroom, and online courses as part of the MSF Rider Education and Training Systems. The RETS is designed to help novice students become competent riders and help current riders become even better riders. Each course is research-based and develops knowledge, skill, attitudes, and habits associated with safe and responsible riding. Heather's putting the link up for that. You guys can check it out. We're going to take a quick break from the news. We'll come back to, we got a couple more headlines to go through after that, and we're going to hit some products real quick. When we come back from products, we're going straight to our guest because we have a killer guest tonight and some big news, so don't go anywhere. We're going to have a 2-minute product spot. We'll be right back with our guest this evening. All right, this is Chris. We're back in the Grease and Gears garage for another Shop Talk product spotlight. This week we're going to take a look at the Russ Wiernemont Designs 13-inch standard performance shock set. We'll get these things open here. You can see some nice packaging, complete instruction list with complimentary fork, shock wrench. So right off of the bat, taking a look at this thing, the spring rate on this is 300 pounds. Also comes with the billet piggyback reservoir. This is designed to keep the fluid for the shock cooler, and it will extend the life of that fluid. On the back of it, you can see that it has the complete adjustments to adjust the speed of the shocks, rebound, set the sag, and everything, just like you guys are used to with your performance suspension. This whole suspension system Comes in at right under $900 retail, is available through Drag Specialties. And you can see this in a further tech tip when we're installing this on our FXR project. One of my other favorite things about this product, you can see displayed proudly on the front of the box that it's made in the USA by Walker Evans Racing. So another great reason to buy this product. If you have any comments, put them in the comment box over here, and we'll see you next week on Shop Talk Product Spotlight. Okay, so thanks to the people over at Dennis Kirk for supplying us with products to bring you guys and get you hip to what's going on out there. Some great stuff, man. That's one of the greatest things about, you know, the whole performance segment taking off so good is the research and the development of product that's going on. Remember, for years and years, like, if you wanted good suspension for Harley Davidson, you had to cannibalize shit from other bikes, and now all of a sudden there's literally a plethora of good stuff out there for Harleys. What happened? We lost everybody.
Are you going to give a little teaser, like just a reminder that like those Warnemont shocks and that alloy art swing arm that you showed last week, they're going on a sweepstakes bike.
Yeah, buddy.
Look at that. 88 FXR. Somebody is going to go home with that bike, and they're not even going to have to buy a ticket. That's upside down.
I did that on purpose. I'm so excited. All right, man, listen, let's cut to it. Our guest this evening is no stranger to any of you guys. Edge. He has put together arguably the greatest chopper party that there's ever been. Some of the fondest memories, deepest scars and emotional wounds that any of us have ever
longest
ever
rides
suffered.
home.
Yeah. I had heard stories about a particular event, and I had never seen pictures. Now I'm scarred for life.
Right? It's so good.
Thanks.
It's so good. But seriously, who among us that work in this industry, and especially in the media part, has not spent, you know, literally hours over the last year talking to people who are just lamenting the SmokeOut going away, and with good reason. I mean, over 2 decades, man, of that event being the absolute cornerstone of all chopperdom and setting the tone for what a good event would be like. So we're gonna switch gears here real quick and bring Edge in and get to our first guest. So what do you think, man? She says she's scarred for life now. Wait till she gets to go to an actual heavy duty party like that.
Have you met me?
There are some things that cannot be unseen, and it's just the price of admission.
So we have so much to talk about, dude. We have so much to talk about, but it has to start with year one. You guys getting the idea to do this crazy event.
So we were writing back then. We'd write articles and just work on our bikes, and I guess they were getting letters at the office and saying, hey, we would like to just meet you guys. And there's some controversy about who came up with the idea, but one of the people in the office, probably the editor at the time, said, let's just pick a hotel in Tennessee. And the internet wasn't what it is today. It was pretty unattended, and there wasn't a lot of advance notice. There was no planning, no preparation. And people just showed up, maybe like 75 people. We just hung out in this parking lot. There were 5 homemade trophies to give away and 1 ride to a Subway. And there was nothing planned other than that. Yeah, literally, that's our extent of planning. Let's go to Subway. And that was before Jerry got caught, you know, doing all that stuff. Anyway. And the thing is, Jerry he'd be like, hey, Jerry, come to the SmokeOut. Still, I mean, anyway. But so we had this big time. Everybody was like, we had these 2 guys ride down from Jersey, and they didn't have any money, and they put everything on their credit cards, and they just drank Gatorade and ate beef jerky all the way. and didn't have any money to do anything but eat at gas stations and put it all on a gas station credit card. And it just turned out to be a really great time. And somebody's like, oh man, we got to do this again. And I didn't plan that one, and no one wanted to plan a second one, but we all wanted to have one. And because I had done some planning with the military, they're like, oh, you should do it. And, I ended up taking it, and then the rest is sort of history. We did the first official one in Cherokee, and it was awesome from there. I mean, by the third one, we started to do the first biker build off, and you know, there were all kinds of builders back then that were sort of unknown. You know, even like Jeff Cochran and these guys were still just excited to be there and just glad to have a bike in the show. And they were like so excited. They were one of the 10 winners in the chopper thing early on. And everybody was so.
We were all really just cutting our teeth, man. I mean, it all happened. You know, Jeff and Donnie really became a big thing.
Yep.
I can remember Paul Cox I'm talking about, but I can remember one year he came through the crowd, and he had, like, I don't know what happened, but he slipped off his clutch or something, and at the same time grabbed a handful of throttle. He went through the crowd, recapturing control of his motorcycle. But it was like he was a superhero. All of a sudden, man, like, you know, a couple of us knew that he was trying to get control back of the bike, but to everyone else, it looked like he was shooting through the sky, you know, like, there goes Paul Cox, you know. But that shit all really just happened. It was evolving right there, man, at those early SmokeOut years. It was incredible.
It was inspirational, because from the East Coast, I had never seen anybody building bikes like that, and just taking parts off and painting them flat black. You know, it was all new to us. We were all young and crazy, and you just went home and you couldn't wait to buy something and start working on it. And the beauty is always at the SmokeOut, there's enough bikes that are sort of obviously handmade that you're like, you know what? If I screw it up, the world's not going to end. Yeah. Everybody breaks down, and it's really an inspirational event, because you go and you're kind of come home and you go, I can do this. Unlike, I think sometimes you go to these professional shows and you look at these professionally built bikes and you're like, oh wow,
I'm out.
Yeah,
you know, I don't have a TIG welder. I don't have a a CNC machine, and you're like, oh, it's, you know, maybe someday I'll be rich and can buy something like that. But this was the one event that was really, truly genuine, where you go home and you want to, and you're looking at parts like immediately, and you're modifying things right away. It's one of those things that gets you into the garage.
So let's go back for a second and talk about the capabilities of military planning. Year number 2. We get wind of this, and we're still doing like a little shit local paper magazine, and we're like, oh, we're all fired up. We're like, oh my God, these are people like us. These are dirty chopper jockeys with, you know, rattle can black motorcycles. We're going, we're riding there. So I get the number. I was telling him this in pre-show. I get the number out of the magazine. I'm like, I'm going to call them, man, and tell them we're coming. You know, we're coming down to support you. So I call, and Edge picks up the phone. He goes, yeah, Edge. And I'm like, hey, man, this is Chris from Cycle Source in Pittsburgh, and me and a bunch of guys are riding down, and I can hear his voice. He's like, okay, have a good ride. We'll see you when you get here. Like, what were we thinking, right? He's going to be like, oh, my God.
So cool you guys.
You guys, that's so great that you're coming. But we pull in and ride like all day, almost go to jail, because Peffer had a drink outside of we got into the Smoky Mountains. Peffer had a drink on a sidewalk outside of a convenience store. More cops than I've ever seen showed up. And while Peffer's getting searched, I'm screaming at the cop, talking about civil rights, and he's violating Peffer's rights. And over his shoulder, I see Zummy going like this. He's like, no, dude. Well, after we settle down and the police leave, Zummy tells me, he goes, you dumbass. He said, I got a whole saddlebag full of pot. All of my pills are in the other bag. He said, we would have all went to jail forever. So, and that was before we even got there. So we pull in. There's orange spray paint on big sheets of plywood that just said SmokeOut with like an arrow paint on it and shit. We get in, we're like, yeah, we're here. Let's get tore up. We were on the Cherokee Indian Reservation. There was it was I think it was a 20-mile ride to go back out to get beer so we could get tore up.
So one of my friends, John, rides out and fills up his saddlebags with beer and ice, and he's riding back on. And they don't have a whole lot of police on the reservation, so the actual chief of police, who is a Native American, Indian chief, stops John, and he's like, could I ask you why your saddlebags are leaking? And he's got his arms crossed too, just like, and John said, that's probably the ice melting that's keeping the beer cold. And the chief looks at John and he goes, did you know alcohol is the #1 killer of the Native American? And John looks at him, he goes, I'm sorry, dude, I thought it was John Wayne. and he's like, shut the hell up. And anyway, the chief of police says, would you like to see the inside of our prisons? And then he was cool about it and let everybody go. But that stuff was real. You can't make that stuff up. It was like so later we decided a dry reservation wasn't our best bet.
Not with this crew. The funny part about it is the event was totally badass. It was always fun, but again, the rides there and back were epic. I mean, the memories from the rides there and back were pretty off the charts.
No, because seriously, that was the one thing about it. SmokeOut was consistently the one ride that no matter where else, we'd throw everything in the shit house into a trailer and drag it all around the country to do all this crazy stuff. But SmokeOut, there was like a sanctity about it that we all rode to the SmokeOut. And even if we sent somebody with a chase trailer, it was like a ritual that you had to ride there. You had to do that whole, day or two of travel and really do it like that to do it justice.
I always got stuck driving the lead sled trailer. So I've never really, I did actually rode one year, but even in the trailer, I mean, I remember one year we were just about at the SmokeOut and Kevin's transmission locked up, dead smack in the fast lane, doing about 80 mile an hour. He wasn't 45 feet in front of me, and I was in the dually in the trailer. I don't know how I didn't kill him. I have no clue. But I can tell you, we pulled over, picked the bike up, loaded it, and we're back on the road in about 8 minutes. So, because we were all in a big hurry to get the smoke out. So, yeah, it was, we used to have so much fun going there, coming back. On the way home, it was horrible because we all had blood poisoning or alcohol poisoning. But, we had so much fun.
All right, so I have a question. I never had the occasion, pleasure, I'm not sure which
privilege,
word I want to use,
honor
to attend a SmokeOut.
Oh, boy.
I want to hear, Chris, your favorite memory, Mark, your favorite memory, and Edge, if you can pick out one memory, like your favorite one that stands out the most in your mind.
Let's start with our guest. It's his floor.
Yeah. Wow,
I have so many. I guess the one that's in my mind right now anyway, not everybody, but sometimes guys would get in a day early and they would hit the Goodwills and buy a bunch of furniture and make like little living rooms out at the event. And they must have used the chase vehicle to get it there. But then they didn't need the furniture at the end of the event. So Saturday night, somebody gets this brilliant idea that they're not going to use this couch anyway. So they tie a rope to it with a shovel head, and they're pulling the couch with a shovel head, and there's a 30-foot rooster tail of dirt, and somebody lights it on fire, and the flames shoot up. 40 feet in the air. They put a lot of gasoline on this. And this burning couch is going through, being towed by a shovel head, and the fire truck turns on and just gets behind it. And the thing's only going like 10 miles an hour. And they're moving through the crowd with the fire truck right behind them. And the chief gets out of the truck, and I'm like, hey, dude, I am sorry. And he goes, we need to practice. This is good fun.
That's good. And there was, I mean, every year had stories like that. Every year. I remember, who was it that was doing the burnout in one of the hotel rooms?
In the hotel
Oh,
room?
yeah.
Yeah. And
What is wrong with you people?
Dude, I'm still gonna say probably my favorite after shit dicking the whole day at the event, going back to the hotel, Holiday Inn, the office chair races.
Oh yeah, office chair races.
Hands
without
down,
a doubt.
probably
Without a doubt.
one of the greatest things.
Somebody gets the idea that, and this is like an extension of the burning couch thing. This time it's like 5 or 6 bikes with tow straps, with ratchet straps, and we take, like, you know how every hotel room has the office chair and a little desk. We took 6 office chairs out of the hotel rooms and decided to race around the building.
And we found out real quick they don't last long, so we ended up probably taking every freaking chair out of every room.
Because here's what happens. When you get an office chair on pavement up to about 45 miles an hour, the bearings literally come apart from the wheels.
The little plastic wheels blow up.
Who would expect that?
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
who would know?
A little bit more quality when you make an office chair, you know?
I have a question. How many years did they continue to let you go back to that hotel?
Oh, dude, it was great.
Forever, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
they were actually. Yeah, they were really cool about it.
Dude, we wrecked that place.
I
Totally
think
every time.
I think when SmokeOut left Salisbury, I think the person or organization that was the most upset about it was the Holiday Inn.
Hands down. Yeah.
Did they like triple key the room rates or what?
I don't.
Not that I can remember.
No, I don't think
remember
so.
them being that much different. Dude, underneath the pull-in where you go in to check in was like such a throwdown party. That's where everybody, you left the event after you killed it all day long. The bands were awesome. The people were just crazy. Then you go there, and I don't care where anybody was staying, you ended up at that Holiday Inn under that checkout pavilion.
Yep.
And if you were lucky enough to have a camera on your phone or a camera in your hand, you got some of the coolest pictures of some of the most iconic people in the industry just totally let it all hang out. Like, dude, you went home and you had stories to tell for a month. It was worth every minute of it.
One of the paintings we have is from
that's from
Holiday.
the Holiday Inn.
Yep.
And you know what? It's really crazy. Like, you know, now to look at that painting, and you see, you know, Richie Pan's viola is there, and Billy Velvet's car is there, and like, you know,
Billy Velvet.
Cut away. I'm gonna take a picture of it and throw it in the Flickr account so you can show people.
Well, here, while you do that, I'm going to talk about. I'm gonna go back and talk about how this event launched a whole movement, but also a lot of people's careers and personalities that, you know, for the last 2 decades our industry's been built from. One of those people I can remember, a very early smokeout in Salisbury, coming upon a buff young man who had a little 2x2 card table and a little bit of literature on it, and he was kind of clean shaven and looked pretty well put together. And you walked up to him and he started telling you the whole story about how he has this idea to do this program at the high school where he teaches shop, and he was gonna, you know, get the school to let him start bringing motorcycles in, and, you know, he was looking for support from the industry, and that guy today ends up being Kevin Teach Bass. But how many stories like that can you tell about those 2 decades of smokeout?
God,
there are so many builders and things like Kevin Bass that all started right there. You know, Billy Lane has always been super talented, and he's always been Billy Lane. But man, back at the very early smokeouts, and even now, even to the end, everybody was so accessible. It's the one place. Like, if I go out to Sturgis, I don't necessarily. You can't. It's just different. You don't.
Yeah.
The smokeout is just, they're right there, and you just go up and hang out, and
it's no
it's
big
a whole different feel.
And they're walking around and they're checking out your bike and going, man, this part here, what you did right here is a great idea, you know, and it's like, wow, you know.
Yeah, it was a completely different feel there. It was so homey compared to how
no
big
no
some of the
velvet rope.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like there was no velvet rope. It wasn't like you were going through a display
Right.
with, you know, with things that you were paid attractions you were going to see. It was literally just community.
Even to the end, we'd have people. We had some film crews come out from California that did a host of other events and everything. And their comments were always the same. It's like, this is actually real. Like, this is what some of the other events are pretending is real, but it's really real here. It's truly authentic. And then they say, how do you not get sued?
I'm going to go back that one picture there, and we should talk about this because this was another thing that developed over the years. It just became legendary.
It
like
blew up.
The mini bike races were one of the sickest things. And who would have figured, you know, like a bunch of grizzled old bikers putting together a crazy time, and this is what would come out of it. Mini bikes and the
costumes too.
The costumes were ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was just a brilliant idea that, like the office chair, I mean, these guys brought mini bikes. Sean from Excess Speed, they started racing around the building, and then the next year there were more, and then we brought it into the main event, and the superhero costume thing took it over the top. But it's all just homegrown. And the thing that I don't know about the SmokeOut is I don't even know what we can truly take credit for and what we can't. It's not, seriously, because you see mini bikes at a lot of events now, and you're wondering if it came from the SmokeOut, and a lot of times I think some of that stuff did.
Oh, I'm sure.
The very first time, the third SmokeOut, we started a poker chip that was really cool, and we just handed them out as a kind of a souvenir. And when I was making them, I'm calling the people that make poker chips. I'm trying to explain what I would use it for. And they're like, well, why would you want to do that? I'm like, because it's different. Now you walk into Harley Davidson dealerships all over the place, and they're giving away, or they're selling, not giving away, poker chips. All the dealerships have them. I'm like, was that us? Because
nobody was doing it.
I think it might have been.
Yeah.
But who knows? But anyway, the mini bikes got absolutely crazy and continued. There's nothing like seeing a clown with 3-foot-long shoes longer than the mini bike sliding into a corner, like trying to edge out Nacho Libre.
Wait till Beaner hears that you just called him a clown on a national program. That's terrible.
Beaner's been called worse.
Yes, he has.
So
he's
there's
very, very just.
He doesn't have internet down there in Tennessee where he's at right now, so we're good.
There's so many people throwing up comments here. David Crum said, made a hot tub out of a pickup truck. Michael said the year Rhett got airlifted out.
Yeah, people saying they got kicked
like
out of hotel rooms. And
that they registered under false names.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Every year they had to register under someone else's name. And I'm shocked we didn't have to do that sometimes. So,
no shit.
Yeah, it was crazy. I'll tell you, a lot of times another cool thing about it was, we went through a lot with Cycle Source, and a lot of times, not riding, I'd run the lead sled trailer and stuff, and pulling in the parking lots, and the people would see, me and Chris and Pat and Kevin and Ferguson and Flip and people pulling in those parking lots, and they'd go freaking crazy like the circus is in town.
Wait, I gotta get to a picture, because this is something I know that we invented at the SmokeOut. not those pictures. Hang on.
Oh, boy.
Here it comes.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Everything that was ridiculous started at the lead sled trailer for some reason, but this thing in particular, once upon a time, somebody decided to start putting alcohol in super soakers.
Yep.
And man,
that's kind of brilliant.
Dude, it was horrible is what it was.
No, it was obscene, because we were already taking in copious amounts of alcohol, and this just made a game out of it.
Yes, it did.
Oh, so bad.
That and the other thing, like the setups there, almost like setting up I remember the 1 year, 2 years, like we were all in like this big horseshoe, and the party it never stopped. that horseshoe was so much fun, and anybody that came in it became a part of it. I remember one year setting the trailer up right down from the stage, and I remember them coming over and telling us they couldn't get us electric, and because they didn't want us, obviously we were right next to the stage. They didn't want to hear our PA playing the whole time, so we ran to Walmart and bought a generator and put it behind the trailer and fired the PA up, and everybody's all pissed off at us. They kept coming over and pulling our cord out, and we're like, dude, it's a SmokeOut. We're allowed to do anything we want here, right?
And Heather,
dude, it was so much fun.
Come to think of it, that was one of the first places at a motorcycle event that I can remember there being a high striker.
Yeah.
Oh, right
That
on.
was the lead
Used to
sled
be
trailer.
on the front of the tongue of the lead sled trailer. Yep.
And everybody
played
stopped
it.
to
Yep.
try. And the funny part about it was the chicks did way better than the guys.
Oh yeah,
Like
hands
that,
down.
probably 5-1. The girls over the guys would definitely ring that bell.
That's
So
awesome. Kurt Green just said that the SmokeOut was the first place he ever set up when he first started doing leather work.
oh, right on.
I remember Kurt well from and I think he was talking like Paul Cox at the time and stuff. Just that's the thing, you could just walk up to
Yep.
Paul Cox if you're doing leather work and go, hey Paul, how do you do this? And everybody's like, and I tell you though, man, everybody wanted to be set up. All those vendors wanted to be set up by Pat, you guys, and Lead Sled.
Yeah.
They had their own contingency. We used to call it the corner office. Everybody wanted to be in the corner office because
Oh man.
We used to, and the difference was that, like, nobody was, there was no egos. There was no, like you said, it was just so open.
It was all
anybody,
just guys.
Larry or Billy or.
Yeah, Christ, look, this is I dug this picture up of the old Choppers Inc. trailer, and that was it. Like Billy would just pull in, his shit was there like everybody else's.
Yeah, it was just so.
and he, like Pat and Billy and all those guys, they would ride.
Yep.
It was 100. Everything was just true. These guys who are who they were. There are no like pretense at all. It was, and that's one thing that never changed. I really enjoy that about the event.
It did. It was, and that's something about it. You went back there every year, and everybody knew. I mean, you walked through that gate. You were on an open kiln. Like everybody was on the same level. It was pretty awesome. I remember one year, me and Jeff and Donnie sitting around talking about exactly that. How cool it was that everybody was on the same level there. There was no egos. There was no crap. You were there to have fun, hang out with your friends, have a few drinks, listen to the bands, and watch people do crazy shit.
So check it out. This is to demonstrate our explanation of this stuff a little more of the Holiday Inn. This was a good brother of ours, Seth Leibowitz, and I worked on this painting. I was at the time, Seth eventually taught me to paint, but at the time all I could do was I was like, I know how this scene should look. So we put together, out of 30 or 40 pictures, we put together the perfect Holiday Inn party scene based on the SmokeOut days. And this is that picture that we were talking about.
And that's about the feel of it right there too. I mean,
And dude, like,
Yeah, that's a great picture, man.
and when we talk about, like, there's Richie's bike off to the side, and Billy Velvet's car, when you go through, like, these were all real people that were there all the time. So you can, as you go through this, you start picking out guys, and you're like, wow, because I don't think at the time we knew everybody as well. So
now you're starting to recognize the faces, and it's,
And even then, it's inspiring art,
Yeah.
Like, it's so on your mind. You go and you paint it just to, and that's the thing. It was actually an artist colony. I mean, you had leather workers.
Oh yeah.
And every kind of metal work and paint, and it was just an artist colony of people coming together with ideas, as much as the party. I mean,
Some of those ideas. I mean, some of the expressionism, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was a little odd. But still, like, going back to that picture, every time I look at it, I remember that parking lot. Every time I look at it, I remember the everything that we did, and like I said, the office chair races and the crazy nights and the drives there and back, and yeah, it was always an epic event, no questions asked. You can't take anything away from that. And then to boot, for us, you know, the SmokeOut was as big as Sturgis or as big as Daytona, and really, in my mind, you said it before, it was so much better to me because there wasn't that separation. You didn't have to get in your car or get on your bike and
or
ride
stand in line to get
50
an
miles.
autograph.
Yeah, you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to go 50 miles from here to there. Everything was in one great area, and you never had to leave it. It was probably the best part of the whole thing.
So let's move on now to what year was it that we saw the SmokeOut move from that Salisbury spot to the Rock?
That had to be like SmokeOut 9, I think. I'm not positive, but I think it was like SmokeOut 9.
So about halfway through.
Yeah, so we got kicked out of Cherokee, which I understand. And then and then we went to Farmington, and they actually that was interesting because they had heard all these stories which really weren't true. The police in Salisbury I'm sorry. So we went from Cherokee, and then we went to Salisbury, and the police there were fantastic. It's one of the most just common sense police forces I've ever dealt with in my life. They were actually, as crazy as the events seemed, they really didn't let anybody do stuff that would let them get into serious trouble. And they were really good at stopping it without stopping the party. When they interceded, whoever they were telling to stop it was like, oh yeah, you're probably right. Because they weren't stopping anything just to stop it. They're like, oh yeah, I probably should stop. Thank you. Because that probably could have killed me. It was just a great police force. And the only reason we left there is because, the antics were sort of legendary, and there was some people that didn't come to the event that ran on this political platform to stop it, and they were briefly successful, and the police really didn't want us to go, which really sucked. And then we went to Farmington for a while, and that only lasted a year. They actually sued us not to have the event because they thought we'd tear up the town. And then we had the event, and then they're like, oh gosh, we'd like you to come back next year. And we're like, are you kidding me? And then they said, well, we'd hire you to run an event. I'm like, you sued us not to have the event. And then I told you. But anyway, and then we went to Rockingham, which it was really great events at Rockingham, but I do have, I always felt Rockingham was a little bit too big. And I probably, that was probably a mistake, but we still had really great events, but when you spread it out so far, we had bigger crowds, but it didn't. I think having a smaller venue builds up the excitement a little bit, but we still had really great events at Rockingham. So, but Salisbury, in my mind, was probably the highlight of the years of the SmokeOut.
Rockingham was fun. We pretty much killed it at Rockingham too. I mean,
we had and I can't take. I mean, in the campground, God, it's crazy. I mean, you had to have your big boy pants on in the campground.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, that was that was pretty much a grown up campground, no questions asked.
Yeah, it was a free for all. Yeah, I can't take anything away from Rockingham, but
wait a minute, I took something away from Rockingham. That's the first time I ever admitted that.
Did you steal that, Christopher?
No.
You shut your mouth.
I won a race.
Was it a drinking competition?
No.
That's besides the point. Oh, Jesus. Well, listen, man, we're going to take 2 seconds here and pay some love to our sponsors. Will you stay with us? Because on the other side, we want to talk a little bit more about coming up to the 20th and some news that you have that we're all going to bring out here right now. Can you stick with us through the other side of the commercial?
Absolutely. Look, Joe, I'm having a blast.
All right, man. Hey, this is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine. I'm reminding you, you guys are watching Shop Talk every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern, through the courtesy of the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. Stick around. We're going to be back in just 2 minutes.
Everything we do at the track shapes what we build for the street and the dirt.
You can see how bad these guys want it. A race to the line.
For us, racing is not for the trophies or the glory. We compete because it makes everything we do faster, more durable, and tested to a higher standard. For S&S, racing is the ultimate in proven performance, and we've been proving it since 1958.
My name is Patrick Maloney. Most all my friends call me Mo. You know, I liked motorcycles and hot rods long before I could drive. I remember looking out the window of the family car when I was a kid, and my mom would see me eyeballing that guy on a Harley and just knowing it was just burning her up. I never had a street bike until I joined the Navy. The Navy was cool. We always had a group of guys. All the guys on the ship that rode Harleys always hung out together. I remember getting off the ship with snow on the ground in Virginia, and the first place I went was right up to that knucklehead and fire it up. Never gave it another thought. You know, a lot of times I didn't have a car. That's how I got into biking. 6 months later, I bought another one. Probably another 6 months later, I bought a knucklehead rolling chassis with a pair of chrome Invader wheels on it and a Jocklid 4-speed transmission, candy red over gold. Right in the middle of a trailer park, I found a knucklehead motor. Bought that motor for $350 in 1982. This isn't just my garage, this is my living room. My name's Patrick Maloney, and I'm a Dennis Kirk garage builder.
Hey, what's up, man? It's Chris from Cycle Source Magazine, Greasy Gears TV, and we are still alive. I should say it that way. Still alive here at Tennessee Motorcycles and Music Revival, and man, the size of this event is incredible this year. Obviously, Jeff G. Holt, V-Twin Visionary, you guys know him. I don't even have to introduce you and say that dumb shit. But what I really want to talk about, man, is like, you know, a lot of people from the outside might be going like, what do you mean, like performance with choppers? But those lines are starting to disappear.
I mean, for me, choppers are the original performance Harleys. Everybody took crap off these heavy old FLs and made them super badass. I mean, and now, of course, you got performance baggers, performance softails, dynos and FXRs, which have always been that. But I mean, people still are like, why do you have choppers in your show? And customs, I was like, well, I mean, if you look at the customs we have, they are performance-made bikes. Maybe, yeah, they are hardtailed, but still, man, they're stripped down, they're fast, they're fun to ride, and that's where we're at. It started, you know, a while back. Jesse started putting Brembo brakes on the West Coast choppers bikes and, you know, lighter wheels and this and that, you know, and, you know, that the end of what we know of what West Coast Choppers was becoming a performance brand. You know, the CFL2 had hydroform swing arm looking rear end, even though it was rigid, and you know, to see all that stuff being repurposed from European race bikes onto Harley Davidsons, whether it's a chopper or a Dyna or a bagger, is awesome.
And you know, the perfect thing is for the setting of all this to be at the Loretta Lynn Ranch, where the AMA Amateur Nationals go down, because as those generations were coming across from district motocross racing to AMA Pro National to, you know, graduating from that and ending up on street bikes, that's where all this the confluence is, you know.
It's super crazy that there's young men racing, you know, professional dirt bikes and flat track on KTMs, but yet they ride their Harleys over here and put them in the show. And that actually happened today. I mean, that's so cool that, you know, all of us love seeing the younger generation coming, but to see it happening so fast, it's badass.
First year blowing it up here for these guys in a big way. What's up?
I mean, we partnered with Harley Davidson on this series, and they asked me to come be part of this show in Tennessee, along with Bill Dodge's stuff and everything else, and to add a little more performance flavor to a chopper show, you know. And I think we've done good this year.
Absolutely. So where are you guys off to after this?
We're going to be back in Phoenix for a little while, then LA for some motorcycle stuff, flying back to Macon, getting in the van, and going to New Hampshire for the big one up there, man. Yeah, and then we're going to, 98. It's crazy, man. And I haven't been there in a decade. So it's going to be interesting to see that. And then we're going to be on the road coming across the country. So definitely check our feeds for that.
Yeah, where's everybody watch at?
Hey, man, Jeff G Holt, at V-Twin Visionary, vtwinvisionary.com, you know.
Check them out. Jeff G. Holt, V-Twin Visionary. I'm Chris with Cycle Source. Thanks for spending some time with us. We're going to go enjoy the rest of TMMR and hopefully bring you some guys, you some of this stuff after the fact, because we're not even here.
I know.
I'm on vacation.
That's right.
Okay, so I have to be completely honest with you guys. I snuck that extra piece in there because I had to go to the bathroom so bad. I
can't believe you had time to pull that video together. Like, seriously?
No, but I wanted to because we got so much good stuff. Like Mark, I flew the drone through the corral where all the bikes are.
Oh, yeah.
And got like this cool, you know, floating drone footage and stuff. So, hey, listen, welcome back to Shop Talk. You guys are along for the ride with us. We've been talking to Edge from the SmokeOut and regaling over the years, the punishment, the torment, and the revelry of SmokeOut past.
It sounds like it was sure something.
Yes, it was. Thanks for being here with us tonight, man. This has been really good.
I am so thankful that you have me here tonight. I'm so thankful why you have me here tonight. I can't be more grateful than what you've got in mind. We've obviously got a secret that's going to come out tonight. And
secrets.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's go back to you know, coming up to the 20 years and everything that the SmokeOut had become and how important it was to people. I mean, you know, honestly, for generations now, this has become that cornerstone, like I said. And then hitting 20 years and coming into COVID, and God, it just seemed like everything got so much harder.
Yeah, that we, you know, the event never slowed down. We had some. I don't even like to think about it. We came up on some bad times. Not at the event, but around the event, some vampires got into the castle. I don't want to talk about that too much.
Yeah.
You know, I was working with guys in a magazine that I'm still fond of, all of them, really. But there's, you know, an influence got in there, and I don't want to go into it too much. But
no, we definitely, like, I want to say before we even get into this part of it, like, you know, those were all of our friends. Like, everybody in the horse and cycle source, and like all of us got along, and, you know, I don't think anybody was more sad to see that magazine go away than us.
Yeah, right.
Well, so there was a person that had this, you know, they said, oh, we're gonna just stop sending out subscriptions, and I'm like, no friggin' way. I'm like, if you listen to me, this is the dumbest idea ever. If you said, listen, we don't have enough money to keep operating, please send in $40.
They would have.
Thousands of people would have sent in $40. I mean, it was just the dumbest thing ever. And anyway, so that's where I parted ways, and it got really ugly because I wasn't on board with some of that stuff, and we parted ways, and the SmokeOut would have kept on going just fine. I was just, at that point, I just didn't want to keep running it at the time. I was getting a little tired. I had some stuff going on, and so you know, since it ended, I'll go to Willie's Tropical Tattoo, like my favorite place in Daytona, or even at Sturgis. I'll go from, you know, someone will come up and they'll just tell me these great stories that happened to them and how they were inspired when they were younger and they built their first bike because they went to it, and then, but it'll always end with, they tell me these great stories and how they've got this young kid they want to bring, and then they go, so what are we going to do? How are we going to keep it going? And I didn't have an answer, and it's such a horrible feeling to not have an answer to that question after they tell you, hey, this was really influential in my life. It gave me a reason to go to a welding class. It gave me a reason to just a million great things that came out of it. And then they say, well, what are we going to do next? And I'd be like, you know, I don't know right now. And it was just I actually kind of didn't go to Willie's twice, and it's my favorite place to go to, just because I didn't have an answer to that question. So, well,
and you know, even this weekend at TMMR, I bet you if there was one person, there was 12 people that asked me about SmokeOut.
Yep. What's
going on? What do you hear? It's, you know, it's on everyone's mind still right now.
You know, I appreciate that, and the one thing about the SmokeOut is I never felt like it was. I always felt like I was just the caretaker of it. You know, everybody, I didn't plan all that and everything. I just provided a forum, and the people that came provided the real event. And so, you know, it wasn't like I sat there and like, oh, wouldn't this be a great idea? Oh, wouldn't that be a great idea? I have all these great ideas. That was never it. And when I say I mean all of it. Excess Speed and Beaner and, you know, Roadside Marty and, you know, George the Painter and on and on and on, you know, Matt D and all the great guys. And Sean, you know, I didn't mention 15 of them right now, so I never should have said the first name, but it was always their event. I mean, everybody that came, Chris, you and the Lead Sled guys, and you know, Pat, and it was everybody that brought the stuff. They'd come up with these great ideas, and so you know, I just get a call and somebody would be like, you know, they're doing this shopper prom, but we could have a shopper prom. And then, so I'd type up, you know, I'd post something like, hey, what do you think about a chopper prom? And I'd get somebody call me from Atlanta and they say, hey, we heard you might do a chopper prom. You could have tryouts for the wedding singer here at this club in Atlanta. And we'd just have all this crazy stuff develop. We'd send film crews, and it was always that kind of event. And man, that just actually chopper prom might have been the best thing we ever. You know, you asked me about the best memory. That might have been chopper prom.
Yeah.
And by the way, Pat from Lead Sled was him and his wife were the king and queen.
King and queen, yeah. Dude,
and they
that was
had these white tuxedo with mint.
That was prepped for like months, just to let you know. That wasn't a winging or a prayer right there. Like, we knew that was going on, and that was it went on for like seriously probably 3 weeks to prep for that. Dude,
that
was
wedding
so
singer
fun.
killed it.
Oh,
We
yeah.
had it was almost like that show where they picked the singers, but we had tryouts for it, and we did it at this strip club. And the advertisement for the strip club, it was the Claremont Lounge in Atlanta, and it was this basement of a condemned building. It was the weirdest place, and it said where strippers go to die. They literally had strippers in their 90s.
Believe it
some
or
of
not,
them.
I've actually heard of that place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've had like plus over 400-pound stripper, and so they would have these strippers that no one would look at, and these workers, and they would have Hollywood stars just walk in and sit with the workers. Anyway, we picked a wedding singer there, and we had a prom one night, and Pat from Lead Sled was. I got to get you pictures of that someday.
Yeah, him and Jen were the king and queen. Yeah.
And
we lost him.
Oh, we lost Edge.
I'll tell you later.
Okay, so the Claremont Lounge now is a boutique hotel.
So we had tryouts for a wedding singer for 3 weeks, and then we picked a wedding singer, and the guy killed it. And he had a fog machine, and we had bikes set up where you could be there with your prom date. And basically what it was is we have a lot of women attend the event, and they all have all these bridesmaids dresses they're never going to wear again. And we said, well, we'll just have a chopper prom where you can wear that bridesmaid dress, pack it in your saddlebag and wear it Saturday night after the smokeout ends, and we'll have just like a prom. And we had bikes where you could take your picture like the king and queen, and we had a prom photographer, and we had punch bowls that got spiked. It was just like prom. It was
this crew needs very, very little encouragement for it. Like, all you have to do is throw an idea out there. We did a thing in Sturgis this year. It was a pimp and hoe party. What we called it.
I want to go to chopper prom.
See.
I totally want to go to chopper prom.
All you have to do is put one of these ideas out there, and they run with it.
Oh, disco night in Sturgis.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
It was worth its weight in gold.
Hello.
And again, that came from everybody bitched at me about putting my music on, and then like, dude, we ought to have a hip hop night, or we ought to have a, whatever, a disco night. And guess what? It worked out great. So
so much fun.
It was.
Well, when you have a crowd that can just put their egos completely aside and just say, I don't care, it's going to be a good time.
And that's definitely the crowd that we're talking about. This whole group that come to these, the SmokeOut guys. And the funny part about it is, over all these years, we've all stuck together. So it's, if the party went on again, we'd all end up there again. You know what I mean? It wouldn't change. So definitely something that would be awesome.
The other thing I love is it's just such a multi-generational thing. I've seen guys that won in the chopper contest that were like 19, 20, 21, and they were there with their dads that were, so from really young guys to we've even getting Dave Perowitz and all of the famous people from that sort of preceded us in this whole crazy endeavor showing up, and it's really kind of spans the generation. I think we have the youngest demographic though of any rally that I've ever been to. We have a lot of young builders in there.
Yeah.
So the 20th one was in 2019, right?
It was,
Is that correct?
yes.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
So if you guys are cool with this, we're gonna take probably the next month or so. We're gonna be talking about old smokeout days. I'm actually going through my archives right now for that first year that we went, and we want to have you come back on and talk some more and tell some more of these stories. And maybe we'll even, the next time we have one of these shows, we'll get like excess speed here and roadside on at the same time, and like we'll just have like a round table and Pat Patterson, and all of us just tell old smokeout stories.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Kevin, and yeah,
So
yeah, be like old home week.
Hey, Chris, Tom Kiefer wants to know if we have Chopper Prom, if I can be his date.
no,
Look at that.
no, Jesus.
So Tom Kiefer has some great smokeout stories, and you got to hear how Anal Bead Bob got to be known as Anal Bead Bob, because he wanted a really comfortable seat to ride down to the smokeout on. And he shopped all over and he found one of these beaded seats, but it wasn't the right shape for his chopper seat. So he cut it, but took leather and tied the ends and made this beaded seat so he'd be comfortable on his chopper. And he's riding down the road, and these beads are like hitting the pavement and dinging the guys behind him, like little bombs going off while they're riding down the highway. And so they started calling him Anal Bead, which he's known as Anal Bead today. Just another smokeout story. That now that you mentioned Tom Kiefer,
I'm into. I like the fact Kiefer just moved in. Did you check that out? I love him.
He's all about it now. There's we got a comment from the homie Big Rick. Shout out to the old graybeard who was walking around the smokeout with a 21-year-old nude Filipino girl wearing only Mardi Gras beads. I believe it was 2007 or 8.
Oh, jeepers.
We have no way to keep up with nude women based on there was always way too
the later in the afternoon it got, before everybody headed to the hotels, it sometimes it got questionable. Hey, we know
So I'm guessing
Ferguson was usually
smokeout-
naked. So
right.
The smokeout wasn't a family-friendly event.
It was our
No,
family.
you had to be 18. You had to be 18 to get in.
Yeah, I think that's good though. Like that's how it should be.
And I made an exception to that one year. I don't know if you remember the Ice Cream Man from Hell.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So Ice Cream Man from Hell, he's like, oh, I got my nephew, and he's really mature for his age. He's not 21, but just let him in. He looks a lot older than he actually is. And I'm like, well, how old is it? He's like, oh, he's 15, but he looks 21. So I'm like, no, this is really against my better judgment. He's like, no, man, I can vouch. This kid will stay out of trouble, and he looks 21 anyway. So the kid comes in. He looks 12. And about an hour later, we used to have a mechanical bull where the girls would strip naked and ride the mechanical bull, which I obviously wouldn't want a 12-year-old to ever see. And I look over an hour later, and there are two naked women on the mechanical bull, and he's in the middle.
Oh my God.
I'm grabbed Ice Cream Man. I'm like, oh my God, I was mad. But, what are you going to do? But we took care of it, and hopefully he's not scarred.
Dude,
he's okay.
If that happened today, you'd still be in jail.
God, yes,
you'd
would.
still be in jail.
Yeah, that was like, I can't believe.
Again,
he's a good guy. But,
you believe the Ice Cream Man from Hell.
Well,
so,
and you know what? Like, listen, I say that he'd still be in jail, but like Joe Rogan's piece about, this kind of thing being gender specific, Joe Rogan said in one of his stand-ups, I too, like any American in here, if Harvey Weinstein propositioned my daughter for a part in a movie for sex, I would kill him. He said, but if Harvina Weinstein told my son that he could get a solid role,
yeah, right.
Get in there and make that lady happy, son.
Christopher.
I didn't say it. Joe
Yeah.
Rogan did.
Kiefer just said that kid's a pimp now.
Yeah, probably, right?
Yeah, and there, Mike Robb says he's the ice cream man from hell. That's self-explanatory.
Right.
It probably wasn't even his nephew.
Yeah, exactly.
He was actually a pretty good guy. Actually.
Yes.
I was.
He's a super nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So, just like you, we've been hearing all the stuff too. People lamenting the loss of what this event has come to mean to everybody. A lot of them that never got their chance to do it, and you and I started talking about this around Daytona this year, and it looks like the news is coming out now. So I'm going to turn it over to you because I don't even feel like I have the right to say these words. It's such an honor for us, but it's pretty cool.
So Cycle Source magazine is going to keep this event alive, and we're not ready to say where or when, but there's going to be a SmokeOut in the year 2022, and I can't be more excited. I'm glad the event's
Yes,
not.
sir.
I just can't be more excited because, at the end of the day, there were a lot of shenanigans. But at the end of the day, what that event, at the heart of that event was men and women in their garages till 2 a.m. after work, fabricating parts, and eventually timing out their year so that bike would be finished to ride to the SmokeOut.
Yep.
And the whole culture that goes along with getting that bike ready to go and seeing all these really artistic creations, and that's all staying alive, and the next generation of builders can be part of that. I don't see another event out there that's catering to and I don't care if it's a XX650. We even have a special show for those because a lot of the younger builders were able to pick those up cheap, and I don't see another show that really caters to beginning builders like the SmokeOut does. And I just feel like those younger builders are the future of our culture, and I'm so excited that we're keeping it going for them.
You know how many times, I can't count how many times over the past couple years I've seen people talk about exactly what you were just talking about, and a lot of people called that the SmokeOut push. You know, they missed the push, that SmokeOut push, and that's what it was. Man, you gave them
that deadline, that inspiration.
Yeah, you knew in the next, month you had to have that bike done. You're pushing to get it to the SmokeOut, and that now, a million. Oh, how many times? When are we going to do it? When are we going to do it again? Well, now they have their answer. So
I like Chris. I can't believe that we get to carry this torch. It's just, it's still kind of surreal. And, as we said, we're going to release a little bit more information over the next couple weeks, but just know that it is coming, and we are going to do our best to do it justice. And we're so grateful that Edge is going to be working right alongside us.
That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing about it. On the way home already from TMMR, I started calling some of these key guys that we've been talking about tonight and saying, "Hey, look, I want to get all you guys together in a couple conference call meetings, and I want to talk about what were the most important parts to everybody, because even me, I don't want it to be about me or Mark or me and Mark or what we think or even us and the Lead Sled guys. I want to make sure that we keep this thing going on so that platform that was there for all of us, I want that to be there for the next people coming along too, just like Ed said, so it's a huge honor for us, and what a privilege to be part of the history of that, man. Thank you so much.
I feel as grateful. I've always felt as grateful as, there's some guys that are just cool. I mean, they just are, Billy Lane and Jeff Cochran and, a lot of these, like Pat, they just have it, you know what I mean? And, but I always felt my place in our that I did have a little place in our culture, just kind of having a space for those really creative people and just our culture. I'm not a great builder, but I could use whatever organizational skills I had to at least, create an environment. And as crazy as soon as it seems, actually, we have a pretty good safety director, believe it or not. It's crazy
Considering
as it
on
looks.
top, I mean,
Yeah. So,
But then again,
considering,
but then again, think about these events like that. A lot of security is one thing, but this is a family. Everybody looks out for themselves, and if they
there
see
was
somebody
a lot of self-policing.
Yeah, you see somebody
Absolutely.
doing something stupid. I mean, I can't count how many people I've, pushed down or pushed out of the way to quit doing something stupid, or in a lot of people that way. So that's the nice part about this is the camaraderie brings caring for each other also. So making sure nobody does anything dumb. Don't light anybody's shit on fire. Don't steal anything.
Unless they want you to.
Right, unless they ask you to. I mean,
Unless they
don't
want you
steal
to.
anything. But, in general, I don't find it hard to believe that the policing. And on top of that fact, knowing some of the group, do you want to end up seeing them knock on your tent door that night or on your hotel door? No, you don't want that to happen. So,
anyway, I've always been so honored to be able to be part of it myself. So I was really bummed to think at one point that maybe it's coming to kind of an end, and it was sad for me because there's still a bunch of ideas. Like people will still come up to me and I'm like, man, that's a great idea. Yeah, we could do that, But then when it looked like that platform was going to go away, but no, it's not. We're gonna have that platform. So
Yes, sir.
don't stop thinking outside the box. So let me know.
And
because-
there's one other part that I wanna send out to all the Cycle Source fans too, because you guys have been asking us at the same time. It's been a few years since we stopped doing Big Mountain Run, and you kept asking us, when's Big Mountain Run coming back? When's Big Mountain Run coming back? Well, that's part of this whole thing, to make sure that we continue to have this foundation for all of this. We're going to make the Big Mountain Run come back with the SmokeOut. Big Mountain Run will be the 3 days of Gypsy Tour and partying leading up to the SmokeOut. It'll end at the SmokeOut, and all of this comes together as one thing where we can really focus on making that one killer thing and ensure that this is going to be here for a long time still.
So crazy.
I'm so happy. There couldn't be a better group to run it than the Cycle Source. There's no vampires in the castle there. They're all there for the legitimate good reasons that you want to have. So we're going to leave Rocky. Well, I won't even go into it, but I'm just happy that
We can
it's going to go forward, and we're going to have people that are there not to try to, use anybody in any way, but to actually promote the culture. And Cycle Source has always done that. So
we can
there's a
suffice it to
perfect-
say that it will not be at the racetrack.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it won't be. He was a decent. The thing was, you knew what his vice was. He was greedy, and basically, I could say, well, we're going to do this. It might seem dangerous, but it's really not. And he's like, oh, I don't know. And then you say, but you'll make extra amount of, you want this much extra money. Oh, okay. So you could kind of do whatever you want as long as you were
Paying for it. Yeah.
Yeah, but when it was time to leave, we had this huge, thick contract, and I'm like, I'm going to stay on as an advisor. And I was telling myself, well, I'm really not letting the vampires in the castle. I'll stay on as an advisor. But at the end of the day, if I needed the contract that thick, I was probably working with the wrong people. And I don't have any animosity for anybody that goes to Rockingham this year. I don't think it's the right thing to do, but I've got good friends that are going to go, and they're still going to be good friends of mine. But let's get that out of the way, and let's get back to the real deal. So,
Right on. So the one thing I'll tell you guys is we do know the location, we do know the date, and we're going to be letting that stuff come out a little bit at a time as we get a couple loose ends tied up. But it's killing me because as cool as this news is that this is coming back and these two
We're
great.
so not good at secrets.
I know, I'm terrible at secrets. The next announcement that we have about where and when, that shit's gonna blow your mind. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. That's all I'm gonna say.
But we do need. Hey, I'm gonna put a call out for help right now.
Yes.
We want to hear anybody that's been to a big mountain run or a smokeout. We want to see your pictures, and we want to know what you love best about it, because we don't want to run rogue and make it something you don't want.
Nope.
So send us your favorite memories. Send us what you want to see, and send us your pictures.
Oh boy.
And we already got Roadside Morty back.
And I've already been scarred for life, so it's okay.
I think have I been telling you I've been thinking about retiring?
No.
Does that come up in any of our conversations?
Not now.
Mark, you're gonna live to 150.
Real nice, Heather. I know you hate me.
Right on. So I think maybe within the next week we can have you back for another little, maybe week or two. We can have you back for another little extension on some of this stuff.
I'd love to be here anytime. And just so everybody knows, Chris isn't saying, "Oh, we have it to release, but we're not going to tell you yet." Sometimes you got to get agreements in place, before you announce certain things, and it's just a matter of finalizing the paperwork, not knowing things and withholding information. So,
because trust me, if he could, he would. Like I said, he is the worst secret keeper in the. He's the guy that would be like, "I got your birthday present. You want to see?" And it's 3 months away.
Here's one thing that I can tell you that makes me very, very happy to announce. This is not like, we're not having this show so that you guys can all say goodbye to Edge. Edge is still going to be here with us and doing this stuff, and with his direction. I hope that we're going to do it justice.
Yeah, we wouldn't do it without him.
Well, I appreciate being able to stay on in the capacity that I am, where I don't have to, be 100% involved, but at the same time, just really feel like anything I do say is really taken very seriously, and it's just been wonderful. Though every meeting we've had so far, it's just left me so excited and so absolutely positive this is the right direction for not only myself but for us as a community. I think this is absolutely the right direction.
Plus, now, like the rest of us, you have the benefit that if the shit hits the fan, it's Heather's fault.
Yeah, you can blame it on us.
Hey!
That's what we do.
Please.
I'm
the one that cleans up your messes.
It works out great.
You do clean up work.
Rainbow Chaser and
Right on, man. Well, listen.
Oh, Kiefer said that you could ride on his pee pad as long as you put your legs around him.
Wow, that just
Kiefer need laid? What's going on here?
That went to a really
now?
Unhealthy place. First he was hitting on you, Heather. Now he's hitting on Edge.
Honestly, I've had better offers than you wouldn't expect it. Thank you, though, man.
And he got shut down twice.
That's great.
Kiefer's
when I say I've had better offers, really any offer?
Yeah. Kiefer's new nickname is going to be McLovin.
Hey, the next time you're talking to Kiefer, you got to ask him about the time that Jack shit took his badge for like 3 days.
Boy. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Kiefer might need to be on our panel. Tom's got some great.
Yes,
he does.
Kiefer's awesome.
And on top of that fact, after the stunt that he pulled off, he's the flaming,
did you hear about that
mini bike stunt? He got my vote.
Did you see what we did with him in Gettysburg Bike Week?
No, I missed it.
Oh my God,
man!
So it was right around the time that they did that, like the second Evel Knievel tribute thing, where it was the girl rode through the flaming boards, and it was kind of cheesy and half-assed. So she did something like 12 boards. So me and Mark talked Kiefer into getting an Evel Knievel costume and a mini bike, and I bet you we built 28 flaming board barriers.
28 or 29. Yeah.
And at Gettysburg Bike Week one night, we lit them bitches on fire, and he come down through the midway, man. He must have been doing 102 miles an hour, and the boards about 3/4 of the way through, I think he came partially dislodged from the motorcycle, but he continued like he had the Evel Knievel cape and the helmet, and he kept
awesome.
going right through the boards, man.
He made it through every one.
I should be able to go to Chopper Prom with Evel Knievel.
Wow.
Can we get a commit from Tom Kiefer to ride through some flaming crap?
Oh,
I think it has to be.
I think
it has to be.
Well, he's been shut down here twice. Anything for him would be a bonus.
Yeah.
Do it again, Tom. Do it again.
All right. Well, listen, man. Thank you again so much for entrusting us with this. It's an absolute honor, and we're going to be pumping out social media on this and spreading the word around, and we're asking for everybody's input to make this how it's supposed to be. But it all starts and ends with you understanding how important this is to all of us, man. So thank you.
Well, I'm so privileged to be part of this community, and so privileged to work with such a great entity like Cycle Source, and y'all's hearts are where they need to be, and I can't be more excited than I am. So thank you for having me tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll talk to you again real soon, man.
Take care.
Edge.
All right, buddy.
See you, Ed.
So there's our big news for the night. That's actually the news of the decade for me, man.
That's pretty heavy.
I've been such a fan of that event since the first time that we went. It blows my mind that we're gonna have, because through all the years, we tried to find ways to work with the event, work with Edge, and it just always seemed like different circles and the whole bit. And now it's all coming together. It's absolutely badass. But
yeah, it's finally.
I'm so excited.
Spread the word.
Opened up to a good opportunity, and
yes, sir.
It's cool. It's going to actually happen.
So excited.
So hey, we have a quick tech thing to get through. Great tech from Rich Pitoniak. You guys have been checking that tech series out that he's working on with us. We're going to run through this real quick, come back, and wrap up some news. But make sure, do like I said, spread the news. SmokeOut is coming back in 22. SmokeOut in 2. Don't go anywhere. Check out this tech.
Okay, what we're doing here now is I'm building a Shovelhead stroker engine. It's a 4 3/4 stroke shovel. Stock 80 inches, a 4 1/4 stroke. So any stroker that's over a 4 1/2 inch stroke, you have to do this step for your oil return. So your oil returns from your top end down through the cylinder here and out here, which is below your oil ring or your piston. So as your piston comes down, your oil ring does not come down below your oil return hole. If your piston was to come down below, the oil rings was to come down below here, it would pick up oil, and then as the piston comes back up, then the engine could smoke. So what we do is, on a stroker motor here, you scribe a line 1/2 inch, 500 thousandths from this bottom surface, and you scribe a line here, and then we have to put a 1/4 inch hole in the cylinder right here, in line with this with the return hole. So like I've already done it on this one here. So here it is. There's a 250 hole that's drilled in the cylinder. And then what we'll do also is there's a tube. I'll get to that step. I'll show you that after. There's a tube that gets pressed into the cylinder here. So that tube, when you press that tube in here, it'll block the oil from returning into this return hole and direct it, so the oil will come down through here. And then I'll show you that step after, where we have to drill a hole in the engine case, so that way the oil returns through here, through the engine case, and then come in this way here, and that way the oil will return through here. And again, the reason being is that, so like I said, that hole, that original oil hole, will be blocked off by the tube that gets pressed into here. And that way, because on a stroker, like I said, the piston comes down lower, and your oil ring won't come down below this far, and that will be your return oil will be below your oil rings, and that's what you want. So I'll get to the step of drilling the holes in your engine case after you do this. But so now I have to do this cylinder here and put the drill the oil return hole in the side of the cylinder here. Okay, what I made here is I got a piece of brake line. I cut a piece off 3/4 of an inch long, and I'm going to put this insert into the oil return hole in the cylinder, and this is to block off the original oil return hole. Now this is where the I mentioned earlier in the video how you have to open this hole up to put this insert in here. So this one is already opened up and ready, so I can press this in. Now the object of this, like I said, is once you press this in here, it will block off that hole right there. So anyhow, these are good to Loctite in. Best way to open these holes up is a reamer. If you drill it out, you have an interrupted cut because of the other hole inside there. So a reamer is a good way, the best way I think, to open this hole up here. And this has to be below the surface here. You want it below your gasket surface, just a little bit below. Okay, lining this up here, this is where we're going to put the hole for the new drain hole in the engine case. We're going to go down here. I'm going to use an end mill. We're going to go down 5/8 down, 6/25 down. So once I do that, I end mill this 1/4 inch hole, 5/8 down here, and then after that I will drill the cross hole that will meet that hole, and that will be the new drain hole. Now what you want to do is with the cylinder base gasket on here, you want to place the cylinder on the engine case half, and you have to mark where the hole is going to be put for the drain hole in the engine case. So what you do is, like I said, put the cylinder on the engine case half like this, mark that hole, and then we're going to drill that hole. Okay, these are the new oil drain holes for this 4 3/4 stroke stroker shovel. So I put these here. That's the drain hole now, from the cylinder down there and out here below the piston oil rings. So that will be the new oil return hole from the top end.
All right, Rich Pitoniak, check him out on Facebook, YouTube. He's got a great series. Every once in a while we get him to do some tech for us. But we do need to remind him not to put the music in the videos anymore, because every time he does that, YouTube bitches their heads off at us.
Oh, it's rich. Although that was really soft. We might get away with that one. Maybe.
Right on. So, hey, listen, man, thanks again for...
Time out. Wait a minute. I have to do something important.
Okay.
Big D. Loyal watcher.
Yes.
He just welcomed his first grandson into the world this week.
Right on. Congratulations.
So, Big D, congratulations. And he got a Shovelhead.
Well.
Look at him go.
Grandson, Shovelhead.
Shovelhead.
Although, I gotta say, he mentioned the Shovelhead first.
Good man. Oh. Right on. Well, listen. I want to thank you guys for taking the ride with us tonight, and we went a little bit over, but it was absolutely worth it. I can't wait to bring you more news about SmokeOut and more of the old pictures and stuff too, man. Like, that's so great. Every time that we're looking through the old files of the magazine and stuff for stuff that we did way early on, it's always a treat. But this especially because SmokeOut was really where a lot of it started. Mark was talking today, like the bikes that we built back then and the things that we did. It was just moment in time, man. Yeah,
it was way too much fun. And like you look back at those things and you think, like, nobody even saw half those things because it was so small. You know, there wasn't a lot of reach back then. Nobody even saw half the shit we did.
Dude, that's what I wanted to bring up when Edge was talking about the internet wasn't what it was. It was, remember the old Network 54 boards?
Yeah.
So it was the horse board, and, you know, we had a board, and that was like before there was social media, dude.
Right.
Crazy.
Wow, you're old.
Yeah.
You're lucky I don't have my sound effects tonight. All right, man. Hey, listen. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We'll be going live again next Sunday at 9 p.m. through the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. Always our pleasure to do this with you guys. Thank you for listening. And until next time, get out in the garage and do something. We'll be back next Sunday. Same chopper time.
Same chopper channel.
Bye, Felicia.
Smoke out.